Hey everybody, we
Hey,
are
hey.
we are here. We are excited to finally be reviewing two movies that we saw over the weekend,
We did.
and we wanted to have these reviews up earlier, but
Life.
life. Yeah, there we go. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
Life.
Yeah.
So that's
Uh,
that's kind of where we're at. But we got reviews for you, and then judging by the box office, most of you probably hadn't seen these two movies anyways.
yeah,
So,
not at all.
so we could still
Yeah.
review it for you.
Yeah.
And
It's fitting that we're doing both these reviews in one episode because we saw both these movies in the same day. We did a classic double feature. It was double feature Friday for your real pastors. Plus Cole. Cole was with us.
yes, and it was a lot of
Yep.
fun. I hadn't had a double feature in, gosh, years. I think Salem might have been a baby. Like it's been a while.
Yeah. Last double feature I had was The Prince of Egypt followed by A Bug's Life.
Yeah,
So,
my last double feature was Megamind followed by Skyline, which only one of those was good.
I don't remember. I don't even remember Skyline.
It was a really stupid
Anyway,
alien movie. Let's
yeah.
just leave it at that.
Gotcha. It's too late for me to ramble. We got some reviews to get to. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, you're good. So we got reviews for you guys in our first review that we saw. So two movies came out over the weekend that, one had decent buzz. The other one you may have forgotten, but that's all right. But there's been a big push. And the first one is Snake Eyes. And
Snake
I found
Eyes.
this really cool poster. So I was like, I'm putting this one up because everyone's seen the other ones. So whoever did this, good job, sir. Proud of you. But
That's a solid
here's
poster.
it is. It's really good. So as always, we will dig into the good, the bad, the pastor, and the dad of these movies. And the first one is Snake Eyes. And I'll go ahead and start us off, Sir Gary, if you don't mind,
Go
on
ahead.
the good of Snake Eyes. So the good for Snake Eyes for me was me personally. I know a lot of G.I. Joe fans will probably disagree with me on this. I liked the idea where they were going with this. Because Snake Eyes has always been a character that he hasn't spoken. He took a vow of silence due to things that happened in his past, originally. And but here we get to see him as a man. We get to see how he becomes Snake Eyes. So that's honestly what got me into the theater. Is like I want to see that story. Like how did he become Snake Eyes? How did he get to that point? So some of the stuff that they had leading up to that and showing how we got to this point, how we became, started to train with ninjas and stuff. I'm like, okay, all this stuff's really cool. So I like that side of things. I like I forget his name, Henry something.
Henry Good Godwin.
Yeah, something like that. He is the guy who plays Snake Eyes. Honestly, I thought he did a good job. I mean, most of the people who acted in this movie, most of the actors and actresses, I thought they did a good job. And portraying the characters that they had. There were certain G.I. Joe characters that were in this, and Cobra characters that did well. They did well with doing a little bit of world building of like showing you like, hey, there's this G.I. Joe world that's going on. Like this does focus on Snake Eyes the whole time, but they did say like, hey, G.I. Joe and Cobra, they're already working in the background as Snake Eyes is coming up, and so I like that they did that, and which showed like, hey, this is a reboot of the G.I. Joe franchise. So that's some of the stuff that I liked. I thought some of the costumes and stuff were cool. So those are the stuff that I like. But that's pretty much what I had at the moment, and maybe we'll dig into other stuff later. We're trying to be spoiler free as much as possible. So that's what I have for
Yes.
now. But
Glad you
Gary,
said
go
that.
ahead, sir. What do you think?
Uh, the cast in this movie was really good. Henry Golding, which the IMDb machine corrected his last name for me. Henry Golding, he was really great in this movie. The cast was really good. And the pacing of this movie was really good. It really wastes no time because, it is a very self-aware movie. I appreciate that. And and I think trying to think of what else with the good. The way the story revealed itself, I was intrigued by it because I don't know a whole. I know a little bit of GI Joe. I know Cobra's the bad guys,
There you
correct?
go. Yep.
And I wasn't even sure. I meant as it started, I was like, I forgot to ask if this is tied into the Channing Tatum, Bruce Willis, Dwayne Johnson G.I. Joes. So it's not,
No.
right? It's just
Yeah.
a
No,
reboot
it's
of
not.
that. So I thought the way that it was paced well, the story, how it flowed was really good, and the acting was really good.
Yeah, I mean the actors and stuff, especially like I said, the Henry, what's his face, like he did. I thought he did a
Golding,
great
yeah.
job. Go, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I thought he did a great job. So that was some of the. I mean, that's some of the good about it. Like, and I will say this too, like the movie had a whole lot of potential, and you can
Mm-hmm.
see it the entire movie. You're just like, man, there's a lot of good that can come out of this. But I think maybe in transitioning to the bad, and I think that they might have tried to do a little too much and cram a little too much in this movie instead of just focusing on him as the character. So with some of the bad, it was just like so that's one thing. The other thing is, we talked about this with Black Widow. This did it too. The daggum shaky cam during the action. Yes. Oh my goodness. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if you have a ninja movie, let
It
me
was so
see the
bad.
ninja-ness. Like, I want to
Mm-hmm.
see it. I want to see the hand-to-hand combat stuff. I want to be able to see the action. And this thing was just shaky as all every from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Every action scene throughout the whole thing was shaky,
And it
and it
never
was just
stopped.
it never stopped, and it was really really annoying.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, shaky cam. It's not creative. It does not look good. The only way that looks good if it's a like POV type of movie,
Mm-hmm.
and which was just like one of those, and even
Yeah.
that. So stop it with the shaky cam. It's got to
Yeah.
stop.
It
You
only
know.
works in something like Cloverfield. All right,
Yes.
where like it's
Yeah, that's
supposed
a
to
good
be a
point. Yeah.
handheld and they're running. Okay,
Hmm.
I get
Yeah.
it. It adds to suspense. But when you're just watching a movie, stop shaking the camera. Like why?
Yeah.
Like it is not needed. Like we
We
want
don't
is
like to be taken out of the story, out of the movies, and shaky cam. It was just like
yeah.
it was distracting.
Yeah, and I get it. The idea when Jason Bourne, the Bourne identity stuff
Hmm.
happened, I get it. They wanted you to feel like you're right there in the middle of the action, but that feeling's gone. Like it's not there
Yeah.
anymore. And you have to film the movie a certain way, and this movie was not filmed in that way to make you feel like it was almost like because I remember the Bourne Identity movies. It kind of felt like if you played a video game that had like a sticky cam third person thing, and it
Hmm.
was like so stuff would get shaken stuff because you're really like right on top of this person. But that wasn't what this
Hmm.
movie was. This movie
Well, the
wasn't
way
that at
that
all.
the way the Jason Bourne movies did it, yeah, it felt like you're in the same room with them, like it was
Hmm.
zoomed in, it was close up. This was trying kind of like I don't know, it just wasn't the same feeling, you know,
Yeah,
a very different type of movie too, and it was just not
yeah,
great.
yeah. It just wasn't great. And then, and there was, I think Gary, we were talking about this yesterday. The other bad thing is I felt like they needed to commit as a ninja movie. They needed to commit to being either fully ninja or like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, like mythical ninja,
Hmm.
right? Like they needed to pick one or the other because there was like one specific thing that has to do with like these trials or something, right? And the
Hmm.
last trial has this whole thing where it's like, okay, you've been setting up a lot of this is real world legit ninjutsu stuff, and
Hmm.
then like towards the end of the second act and the whole third act, they went full Crouching Tiger,
Yeah.
Hidden Dragon, mythical stuff, and it was just like it just didn't mesh well. And it was like you need to commit to one or the other, and especially if you're doing the GI Joe stuff, which I know they get ridiculous. All right, like I get that,
Hmm.
but at the same time, these are high end army people, spies, stuff like that. So they could have very much set up with this reboot. Hey, we're gonna go as realistic as possible, like a Dark Knight.
Hmm.
We always go back to something like that, like a Dark Knight setup where yes, it's superhero and swacky, but you can still ground it in reality. And
Yeah.
that's where I wish they would have gone with this movie and future movies, and I think it probably would have been better.
Yeah, you can't do both. And so the way the story and that's kind of what the story unfolds. You're talking about this. They're trying to reach this one thing in his training, and no spoiler. And you're kind of like, man, what is it? And then it reveals it, and it's like, oh, okay, it's that kind of movie.
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
yeah, uh, yeah. Then yeah, that you can't do both.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the tone it was just very off when it came to that.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, even if you look at like this poster, right? like this poster shows you, like, I mean, I know it's like a cool graphic kind of thing, but
It's
like this poster and every other poster they had, it was like it felt like this was going to be a serious, more serious comic book movie,
mm-hmm.
and they just didn't, and that to me was just such a disappointment. And then since they couldn't commit, since so between the shaky cam and not committing to what kind of movie they wanted to be, I felt like it really hindered the story as well.
Yeah.
And this is what killed me, Gary, is like, I don't know about you, but I found myself rooting for Storm Shadow a
Yeah.
lot more than I did Snake Eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this dude, like, yeah, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but after the movie, you're like, who's supposed to be the good guy? Who's supposed to be the bad guy? Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I know, if we're talking spoilers, I would go into something that really kind of bothered me as the movie ended. But yeah, so just know if as you see this there's gonna be some conflict there, and I don't think it's supposed to be that way. I don't think it was intended.
Yeah.
And while
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, you go ahead, please, please.
well, that's just while we're on the bad. I do want to say one of the worst parts about this movie for me, and I mentioned this yesterday. I thought the script was really bad. It was written very on the nose. And I can't take credit for this comment. I think Dan Murrell said it, but I agreed with him. He said throughout the movie he thought if this cast just had a better script to work with, it's just not. If the movie flowed well, but the dialogue was just not good at all. And I'm big on dialogue. I noticed more of that than some people, I guess. But I was just kind of like, oh man, there were scenes where it was just like, too much there, too on the nose.
Yeah. Well, because there was a lot of, instead of you discovering parts of the story as the story went on, they literally would stop and just narrate it to you. You know, there's the proper term which is escaping me right now. They expository.
Yeah.
They just exposit all over you, and you're just like, why are we stopping to have this conversation right now? Like, there's no need. Like, we could have figured this out on the road. Like, and there's creative ways to do this when people do it. Again, okay, I'm sorry, and I'm turning into Gary now. But in Batman Begins, right, we needed a lot of background information the way they set up that Batman. But through flashbacks and mixes of current day, like, we were able to see the story without being told. And I think that's where a lot of this, the writing got lazy is probably the best way for me to put it.
Yeah.
It just got lazy. Instead of being creative, they just sat us down and told us everything.
Well, it's like I wanted to scream at one point saying, we know his past, he's full of vengeance and wants revenge. Like, Henry Golding is a great actor. He's telling us that you don't have to keep reminding us. We get it. Let us follow along this character. Every 15 seconds, it was a reminder of this guy's past. Like, we know, and it was that lazy expository, I think that's the word to use, writing. And I'm a stickler for that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, like, for instance, like,
sorry for the way word stickler. I've never used that before.
Yeah, but like the way he got his name, Snake Eyes, right? First of all, you could have found a better reason why he found his name. But then later on, that reasoning comes out. Gary, you know what I'm talking about. That reasoning comes out. He is dabbling. He's thinking about that reason. He realizes that he got cheated. Let's just put it that way. And then when it looked like his character was about to make the turn he needed to make to be the hero, that one little thing where he realized he was cheated sent him right back on the path. And it was just like, you really just needed to find a way to have conflict. And it was just like lazy. Yeah. And then it was lazy at the end because it was like, you have all this stuff that happened. And then now at the end, I'm supposed to root for hhim. Like, it was like a real quick, no, I got to do this. So I'm a hero now. And it was like, you didn't earn that moment. I'm still over here. And again, this is in the previews. That's why I don't care to say Storm Shadow because he's in the previews. But like, by the end of the movie, I'm like, no, Storm Shadow has a point. Like, I don't know how he's a bad guy after this.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be Billy Zappa from Karate Kid all over again,
Yep.
Team Storm Shadow. He's the real hero here.
Yeah.
But,
so.
Yeah.
Oh, did you have more, Gary? My bad.
No. I said my qualms.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty up and down. So on the pastor side, honestly, the main thing that I took from it was just the idea of empty your heart. Like that was something that they said, like the fact that he had to let go of all of his vengeance and his anger and everything to be the best like version of himself, if you will. So obviously that was like, yeah, well, that translate well as a pastor. Like, we have to empty of ourselves and let, God step in and do his work. But like, that was probably the biggest thing for me. That, and maybe like Storm Shadow, like giving the guy a second chance and the
Yeah.
importance of seeing the best in people, even if it bites you in the butt, but whatever. So that's about all I had for that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna agree with what you said because I mean that was put really well, and that's really, I mean, that's really the heart of the movie that they were trying to go with. Don't carry things with you, and give people a chance.
Which, by the way, if they would have focused even just on that, the movie probably would have been shorter and probably would have been better. I'm just saying.
Hollywood, less is more.
Yeah,
We'll get to that in our next movie.
for real.
I don't wanna
So,
get too rid of
yeah.
myself.
So on the dad side, it's PG-13, but the action show's shaky. You don't like say anything. A couple
I haven't
guys
seen
get
nothing.
a couple guys get blown up, but you don't see anything. And language is, I don't remember much. So like,
It was one F word, but just like real quick.
yeah. Oh, that's right. They
Yeah.
use the one F word
Yeah.
for their
The
PG-13.
one
But
they get.
yeah, and other than that, yeah, like there wasn't much in there. So it is PG-13 for all that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, this is on par with, other than their one F word, this is on par with any other Marvel movie.
Oh yeah.
So however you judge your Marvel movie, as a parent, judge this one right along with it. Like, and you're probably fine.
Yeah, you good. If you let your kids watch Black Widow, probably safe to watch this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So here we are at the end of this review for Snake Eyes. We'll move on. We'll rate this one, and then we'll move on to our next one. And I thought about this one for a little bit. I think I went first last time, Gary. So I'll let you rate this one first, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to like it more. I really did, but I got to go two. Two. It just this movie is just like like I said, I really want to like it more, but when I left the theater, I kept thinking about what I didn't like about it, the shaky cam, everything we already said, and honestly, check it out. It's worth a watch, but I probably won't revisit it again, and it probably will not be on the shelf.
Yeah. So for me, I went back and forth. I ended up going to 3, mainly because it's like, and here's what it is for me with a 3. If you have nothing else to do, you want to kill time. You can kill time and probably semi-enjoy yourself. Like, this isn't a movie, to me, you're going to walk out and be like, what a horrible time at the theater. Like other movies. And that's why for me, I'm like, it's fine. Whether it be shelf worthy or not, maybe if it's in the $5 bin one day.
There you go.
And and they do build upon this and the other movies get better. And it's like, well, I guess I should have this because it started off this new series. Sure. But am I going to run when it first comes out? No.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I mean, to me, it was just like, it was fine. Like,
Yeah,
that's how I left.
This isn't Die Hard 5 bad or
New.
other generic action movies bad. I mean, it's not even bad. It's just,
Yeah, it's
If you see it on TNT one day, they'd be like, "Hey, the Real Pastors gave this a 2 and a 3. Let's check it out. Let's see if they're idiots."
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, all right, 3's very mediocre, for me, and just mediocre movie. Gary went 2, so a little below average, but honestly, I don't think we're too far off on either one of those.
Wanted to like it more, but I gotta be honest within myself.
Yeah, which is completely understandable. So moving on to the next movie, you guys have got that one. Look, Gary's checking out, making sure his Red Sox are.
Yeah, I figured it was like a natural halftime, so I would just peek behind to see what the Sox are doing.
Yeah, so that's what we have. Listen, that's what we got, and then so now we're moving to our second movie of our double feature. Which, sorry, the graphic on this one, guys. Okay, I told Gary this when I looked up old poster. It literally Google just really showed me a bunch of old posters So this is
Mm-hmm.
all I could find, and so whatever. I'm sure if I dug a little deeper, but here's what we got. We have an old review. This is a M Night Shyamalan newest movie,
Yeah, I'm not.
and as much as I appreciate these directors or actors coming out before the movie starts saying, "Hey, thanks for coming back to the theater," because it's important. It happened in every movie we've seen so far,
Yeah, it
and
has.
they've done it at the beginning. And it's a nice touch, but at the same time, it's like, listen, I just watched 25 minutes of previews. Just start your movie,
And
please.
then you get that, and then you get all the Warner Bros.
Yeah,
All that stuff. All the people making the movie get a logo.
yeah. 20 seconds.
The
Little
catering
ding.
company gets a logo.
Yeah,
Brought to you by HelloFresh. It's
yeah,
like, I mean, what in the world? But yeah, we get it. But we're back. We're watching the movie. You don't have to thank us anymore.
yeah,
We're here.
yeah.
I was gonna
Exactly.
say, with M Night Shyamalan. I don't know.
Something like
You
that.
say what you want about the guy. He is gonna be interesting. It's gonna
Hmm.
be either really good, it's gonna be bad or bad. Either way, it's gonna be bonkers.
Yeah.
But either way, people like you and I, we're going to the theater to see what he's doing
Yeah,
next.
like
You
we
know,
have to. Like I just feel like
yeah,
with M Night, even if his latest movie was a huge stinker, like The Happening, right? Like
yeah,
you're still checking it out because of his track record with other movies. And with this one, this is why I was excited because yes, we've had Unbreakable, Split,
mm-hmm.
Signs, Sixth Sense, Glass. Like we had these great movies. Yes, he's had his stinkers, but it's still M Night. So we had
It
the.
is.
So I
Yep.
was like, Gary, we have to go, man. We have to.
Is he the Nicolas Cage of directors? Think about
Well, he
that.
has he hasn't had the full on like, all right, we're just making B movies and the heck with it. Like he hasn't had that
Yeah.
yet.
Like Nicolas Cage is like it's similar though because you think about that episode of Community, he's either great or just way over the top.
Yeah,
It's just kind of along the same lines. I think.
yeah,
We'll just see, but
yeah.
yeah. So
So
old
go
was the
ahead,
second
sir.
part of our double feature. Okay, the good. Very interesting concept. This trailer was first it was M Night Shyamalan, so like I said, I was going to see it. I thought the marketing behind this was really good. Um, and like I said, interesting concept. Some really good actors,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it.
Yeah, Gary
I didn't
Gary
like
struggling.
I didn't like this movie.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
like it.
Gary can't hide it back. I know
Yeah,
that's like me.
sorry.
Like
I'm trying
which
not
is
to be a
fine.
hater, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, which is fine. Listen, I try to appreciate different stuff. Like I appreciated the cinematography in this. Like I know some people are annoyed by it, but I like how he uses a camera to help his storytelling. So like I like that, but as we'll probably just dig into the bad here, like the bad side of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I mean, this is a good concept. The actors and stuff in it did a good job. They believed in their roles, and there was mystery probably for the first what 30 minutes. There was
Yeah.
mystery. After that, it just kind of all the mystery was taken away and stuff. But so I guess the best way to put it, the best part of this movie to me was the beginning. I felt like it had a strong beginning, and then
Yeah.
it fell apart. I think the start of the second act it just fell apart after that. And so I guess we don't have really much good to say. We might as well just dig into the bad of this thing.
Yeah. And this is what so Efren and I hung out yesterday after worship with our families, and of course, we start talking about the movies. And what I talked to him about, what I said yesterday, is the best M Night movies flow really well. You know, the story really works itself. This movie did not do that, in my opinion, at all. And yeah, you're right. By the time when they get to the beach and stuff starts to unfold, and then all of a sudden it kind of reveals kind of what's going on a little bit, and then it's like very similar to Snake Eyes with his past. It was like, okay, now they're doing this, now they're doing this, now they're doing this, now they're doing this. That mixed with some really bad dialogue. I hate to go there again, but this was some awkward,
Yeah.
unintentional, funny dialogue in this movie, and I just was like, oh my gosh, that's so bad,
Yeah.
and it just took me out of the movie, and it is just Yeah. So, and like I said, that, and it wasn't paced very well at all.
Mm-mm.
It's not a very long movie, but it felt
It
very
did.
long. And I don't mind a contained movie. Bottle episodes are some of my favorite episodes of TV shows. This was like M. Night trying to make The Twilight Zone, but like just I don't know. It's like J.J. Abrams helped him finish it.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
don't
know.
know. I hate being negative. But I just didn't like it.
Yeah. No, which like, and I think that's the problem because you and I, we talked about this. We had the same thought, but we're like, oh, is this going to play out like some of our favorite Twilight Zone episodes?
Hmm.
And if it was, I think we both would have been like, this is
I
great.
was,
A new
yeah.
twist to those episodes. Fantastic. I love it.
Hmm.
But it's like I said, like some of the dialogue. Okay, so like one where Gary and I just started dying laughing. So this is one character who obviously has a mental illness, maybe like a dementia or something. They don't explain it. There's just something going on there,
And we're
and he
not
starts.
laughing at his illness, by the way. We're
No,
not
yeah,
laughing
no,
at
we're not
his
laughing
illness.
at the illness. It was the bad writing.
It
And
was,
so
yeah.
so he just starts quoting movies and wants to get people to quote one movie, and he just says, "Does anybody watch movies?" In the middle of like this really intense like moment where they're trying to figure out what to do. Someone's dying, right?
That
And
was
they're like,
actually my favorite part.
I know. And then like it was funny because we laughed out loud. And I turned to Gary and I was just like, "Man, that's us, homie." Like we're just
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, no spoilers necessarily, but we just gotta explain it. Like he
Yeah.
has. So this character, it starts to reveal that he is battling is it's early onset dementia, I guess.
I guess.
And
Yeah.
there's a part where he has to do something serious, and he goes, "What is the name of that movie with Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando?
Yeah.
Does anyone know the name?" And he keeps going back to that, and they're all trying to figure out their problems, and in the background you hear him say, "Let's deal with the problem at hand. Is anyone knowledgeable about movies?"
Yeah.
And I literally we both busted out laughing at
Yeah.
that line. But yeah,
Because it was so like out of place. And like
It
that's the
was.
thing. It's just
It was.
like, okay, the guy's obviously struggling with a mental illness. You think there'd be a better way to show it than him
Yeah.
just like randomly like saying
Yeah.
stuff. Like it was just so weird.
But he said it. Oh, he said it. He kept going back to that. It was almost
Yeah.
like when they wrote this. It was almost like an inside joke, but with the guys writing the movie with referencing that.
Yeah.
Like hit on it a couple times, but it just kept going back to it.
Yeah.
And but the best part. I want to go back to the good little bit. The best part of this movie was the guy who played that guy. His acting was great.
Yeah, it was.
And just a couple other people, but there was another one. Very going back to that word. Some of the dialogue. One character, his name's Jaren, and his dialogue is very expository. I think we're using the right word.
Expository.
Yeah, it was very like I'm a nurse. My name is Jaren, and it's like he just goes to say like at the beginning and stuff like that, and then don't worry, I was on the high school swim team.
Yeah.
And then
And just like that, by the way, people, just like that.
Yes, I mean just like that, and I've seen, and it was just awkward. And there's one line I don't want no spoilers. I'm sorry, but something happens, and this lady just goes, "Does anyone want to talk about what just happened? Like, should we all gather and talk about this?" And it's just like, it's just weird,
Yeah. Yeah, and it was like, and I think we're using the right term. If we're not, whatever, we're morons.
Yeah,
But
it's late, folks.
Yeah, I know.
And we've been trying to get our kids to bed and stuff, so give us a
Heck
break.
yeah. But it is, and it was just all that stuff was so bad. And here's the other thing that killed me is normally with M. Night Shyamalan movies, you have no idea what's going on to the very end. And the two things that killed it for me was literally at the halfway mark of this movie, they literally just read to you what's going on.
Yeah.
Like probably like halfway through the first act, they show you something where you're like, okay, which where Gary and I were like, oh, if this is going Twilight, this is awesome. So they literally just show you that, and then halfway through, they find this notebook and they literally just read to you exactly what's happening, and you're just like, oh, okay, so all the mystery's gone. And then so like I told you yesterday, Gary, once I already figure out what's going on, everything after that, if you don't get to the point, just feels like it's way too long. It happened to me with Interstellar. Figured that movie out within 30 minutes. 2 hours of just torture for me. But so it's just like the same things. Like, okay, we know what's going on. Get to the point. And it took forever. And then there was just like the scene with the two teens was awkward. Like there's that whole awkward scene, which was just which I think
Very
every critic has said
unnecessary.
that. Yeah, very
Very
unnecessary
unnecessary.
because it didn't amount to anything. Again, bad
And
writing.
yeah, and it didn't play on to what else they were trying to say. Like, okay, and I'm just gonna. You brought it up. We'll talk about it.
Hmm.
Who knows when we'll talk about this movie again? But everyone else, they were aging, but
Hmm.
mentally same age, right?
Yeah,
Except for this part, they do all this other stuff that doesn't really line up just to have this one thing happen.
conflict. Yeah,
The conflict that added nothing to the story, and it. I felt very uncomfortable watching it.
yeah, and
And it was
it was written off as I'm getting flooded by all these thoughts and emotions since we're aging
yeah.
so rapidly. So it's like, so yeah, so their mind did age. However,
Hmm.
like it's still, it didn't age the same way as everyone else because they're not gaining knowledge and learning little by little like everyone else. They're just being
Except
flooded with
yes,
stuff. So they're still, the age they started. And
yeah.
again, just lazy writing. They just needed something, some kind of conflict, which if they took that whole part out, you could have
Hmm.
saved yourself 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Like, so to me, it just felt like, hey, we got to make sure this is a feature length film. So let's just
Hmm.
add something to pat the
Hmm.
stats a little bit. And
Yeah.
then, and then the ending. Usually M. Night Shyamalan movies, when they end and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
This did not do that. It ended, it did a Lord of the Rings ending where you're like, are we done? Oh, no, we're not done. Okay, now we're done. Oh, we're not done. We're still going. Okay. Oh, now we're done. Oh, we have another ending? Like,
Yeah.
again, I love Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah.
Return of the King has that multiple ending thing for no reason. And and when they just explained everything to you, it
Hmm.
was like, that I didn't need to see all that. Like they should have ended like I told you yesterday. There's this one line, you don't even
Hmm.
see the character. If they would have just ended with that character doing that thing with that one line, then
Oh
perfect.
yeah.
It should have ended just like that.
Yep, it would have made it much better. The flow would have been, but it's just tagged on. It was almost like it felt like they had that ending, and then they were like they just didn't want to stick to it, and they just felt like they had to explain even more.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like, no, we know what's going on, we get it, you
Yeah.
know. It's like we're not dumb, you know. Some people are. I don't know. Maybe we are.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who
Maybe
knows?
maybe we're dumb. I don't know. But
I
yeah.
don't know either.
So
But so yeah, I mean, we could just go on, I guess, more, but you guys get the gist of this thing. Um, so, I mean, on the pastor side of things, honestly, Gary, I mean, other than don't waste the life you have.
don't wait. I mean
But
that was
I
that was the
that
message
was
of the
really,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah. Don't time flies. Enjoy the moments you have. Um, yeah.
yeah. I don't know,
So,
kind of straightforward. Um, with the dad one, I mean, I ain't taking my kids to see this. Like,
no,
there's
no,
just
no,
too
no.
much stuff that's just too
Yeah.
like. I mean, yeah, it's PG-13, but I'm just like my
Yeah.
kids
This
don't need to
is
see this at all. Like, even if they're
no.
teenagers, there's no need for them to see this.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
because there was some stuff in there content wise, I was just like we said, the uncomfortable scene, and there's just stuff in here that just didn't need to be in there, and then
well,
some
there's
of
some
the
scary elements to it.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very
creepy, very
uncomfortable movie. Yeah.
yeah, and very
Um,
creepy, very uncomfortable.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. And we had one of the guys we work with was actually leading devotion at our staff chapel today, and he mentioned that his son was scared by the trailer for this.
yeah,
Had nightmares by it, and I was like, "Yep, I get that." you know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, not M Night's worst, but far from his best.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, very far.
I
And I think that's what,
do.
like, what do you think of
Right.
this, Gary? Do you think, like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to think, is this movie really as bad as it is as a movie, or is it a bad because I know M. Night wrote and directed and he has a standard that he set for himself?
Yeah, I think so. I think because that's the thing. You just never know what you're gonna get with him.
Yeah.
You know. And I think part of the reason why you and I didn't like it is what we already talked about, but also we grew up watching the Twilight Zone, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, and I know M Night same, loves it as well. But okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is his Twilight Zone movie, but the best thing about Twilight Zone is most of the time they stuck the landing.
Yeah.
And when we kind of saw that and realized, oh, he didn't stick that Twilight Zone landing, it was kind of disappointing,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and it kind of goes back to maybe we're just upset because we didn't get what we wanted, but that on top of the pacing and the dialogue, just
Yeah.
not a great movie in my opinion.
Yeah. I think I told this to you. So in the end credits, it says based on whatever novel, I think it was called Sandcastle or something like that.
Sandcastle, yes, yeah,
And so, and here's what I suspect, Gary. When he writes, like when it's a legitimate his own idea, his own story he wants to tell, it feels like that's when he nails it. When he tries to tell somebody else's story, that's where he fails.
yeah,
Because if I remember correctly, like The Happening was written by someone else and he directed it, and I think Lady in the Water was like some novel or something.
yeah,
I can't remember, like some of his stinkers. Like I don't know about The Village. Village was mediocre to me, but like I think that one might have been his own idea, but I think he tried something new too fast, maybe. But The Last Airbender, based off of a cartoon show, complete trash. But then, of course, his other stuff, like we've talked about, that was his stories were good. And I just
yeah,
wonder if maybe that was some of this issue was he wanted to stay true to that, but still write it his way. And maybe
yeah. I
he
get
just
that.
doesn't do good like that. Like just do
Yeah.
your own stuff, man.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, we've talked about it. If we try to preach someone else's sermon,
Yeah,
it's not. A lot of times it doesn't come across good because, you know,
yeah,
it's not, you know, original. I guess I don't know,
yeah,
but yeah, I do. Obviously, I'm not going to write this well, but I do recommend people checking it out because some people might see this and be like, "That was really creative." People are either going to love it or have the reaction we did. I think.
yeah,
So yeah, I do recommend people see it. Not a fun watch, a little depressing, very depressing, but you know,
yeah,
find out for yourselves because film
yeah,
is subjective.
yeah. And even then, like if you're like, oh, well, I like movies that are a lot more was if you like tragedies, that's probably the best way to put it. If you're a person who likes tragedies, then you'll probably like this movie. But I'm telling you, if you do not like tragedies, you will not like this movie. If you like a happy ending, if you like things to work out, if you like this, no, none of that. Like this is a straight up tragedy. Like in the Shakespeare version, like
Yeah,
that's what it is. And so if you don't like tragedies, if you don't like super sad, emotional endings, existential crisis. If you don't like that, don't even bother.
yeah, not for you.
Not for
Which
you.
I'm all for that if it's just executed well.
Yeah. So I guess it's time to rate this thing, Gary. And and man, and this one, and this one's tough for me.
It's
Um,
I've been wrestling with this for 3 days or how I don't.
However long it's been.
Yeah,
Um, so I think for me, as I thought about this, I was thinking about its rating. Um, like I can't. I say so. I'm just landing on a two. That's where I'm landing. I'm landing on a two. This is one like I definitely won't revisit.
yeah,
I don't care. It won't be bought. It won't be on the shelf. Honestly, I probably, I don't know of anyone I would say, yeah, you should go watch this movie. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody, but it wasn't like this utter dumpster fire that I can't stand, like a
yeah,
Green Lantern movie that I'm like to give it a one. And so like,
yeah,
and that's my thing. Like, it wasn't like I hated absolutely everything about this. This was a total waste of my time. Like, yeah, I didn't like it at all, but it wasn't like I didn't want my money back. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
If I'm giving something a one, I'm probably getting my money back. Like, or
yeah,
like I would want to. I wouldn't be that person, but I
yeah.
would want to get
Yeah,
my
if
money
you want
back.
to. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, I think it's not a one, but yeah, two. Two's definitely. You might as well leave them up there. Um, yeah, I would recommend it to people who are fans of M Night because people are either gonna people have different. There are people I didn't like The Village at all. I knew people that love that movie. I thought The Village is much better than this.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, too. I can't imagine revisiting this or buying it. But
Yeah.
yeah, two.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all we got for that. And so yeah, I mean, that's what we got. You guys have heard us talk about it. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Snake Eyes, what you thought about Old, if you watched it, or if you're just like, yeah, no, based on what you guys said, my taste is like y'all's. I ain't watching it. Hey, let us know. We just want to
Yeah.
know, and because I mean that's all we had. Two. I mean, listen, threes. Gary got two twos. I got a 3 and a
Double
2.
deuce.
Either way, these weren't the best movies out there. And
Hopefully,
they
our
were
next
very,
double feature will be better movies.
yes, hopefully.
You know,
Hopefully we'll have that. Hey, but we got more movies coming out. We got more
do.
movies to watch, and hopefully we got better things coming. And you know, Gary, I'm ready to be like, yo, this is like the best movie. Like I'm ready to watch a Ford versus Ferrari again. You know, something just absolutely an absolute masterpiece.
Yep.
And I know we might have to wait a little bit, but I can't wait to watch something that good again.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
So far, the best movie I've seen this year, and I haven't seen a ton of them, is probably A Quiet Place 2, which hits shelves tomorrow.
Yeah, it does. So go pick that up or
Dang
rent
right.
it if you haven't seen it yet, which you should have seen in the theater, but whatever. Very excited about that one. And we, yeah, so if you missed out the review on that, go check it out. A Quiet Place 2
Check it
review,
out.
Real
Yeah.
Pastors. So here are our thoughts. Down that one, I will say, very good movie.
Yeah, I was way
Very,
more
very
excited reviewing that than I was,
Yeah.
especially
Like,
this movie.
ironically, the two best movies this year, well, not ironically for Quiet Place 2. I mean, greatness was expected out of that. But that and Godzilla versus Kong, like the two
Yeah.
best movies we've seen,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, this year so far.
Theater wise, that's probably it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably think of something else later, but
Yeah. Red Sox just hit a home run, by the way.
I was trying not to get too excited. They took the lead as the show was going on, so
Yeah.
there have to be more shows during games.
There we go. So there you go, folks. That's what we have for you. There's our reviews. Let us know your thoughts down
Thanks
in
for
the
watching.
comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And we will be back at you on Friday for hopefully talking to Batman. More
Talking
deep dive
Batman.
Batman. And,
Batman the movie.
Yep. And hopefully we'll have some
See you.
other great stuff to watch. So
This is-
we may even need to talk about, Gary, I'll leave this real quick, about the new Flashpoint image of Batfleck. I don't know if you've seen that. I'll have to send it to you. Maybe
What?
we'll discuss about that briefly before we dive in. So that's all we have, folks. Have a good night. Now Gary's all flustered and excited. We'll see you guys soon.
Cliffhanger.
See you, everybody.